Hey up everybody, welcome back to the I'll Do Cycling YouTube channel, where today I'm going to be doing a preview of the Volta Algarve. Of course, there's the Ruta del Sol preview, which has also been uploaded today, so be sure to go and check that out. I'll be sure to leave a card at the end of the video as well for you to go and check it out, because these two races are going to be running simultaneously, so really exciting time for the cycling season. Arguably, this is the most exciting time for the cycling season, and I really love this stage race, the Volta Algarve, and I think this competition is really great as well. There's going to be so many great iterations of teams which can be made, which are going to do really well. At the top, João Almeida, he's 24 credits, which is quite a lot for Almeida. Obviously, this is his home race. Of course, his TT hasn't been as good as when he was at Quick-Step, in my opinion, so I think that he won't be an absolute guarantee for a win, which is why I think 24 is perhaps quite expensive for João, and you could perhaps spread your points out more, and that could be a better choice in terms of trying to get more points overall. So Almeida's, like, maybe you could put him on, maybe you could not. I think that's really up to you. Higuita at 20, again, very expensive for a rider who doesn't have a great time trial and therefore will struggle to finish inside, really. Like the top 5 will probably finish somewhere around 10th place in GC because of that. And I know that he could win the stage 2 and stage 4. However, I'm not certain about Higuita at 20 being the most value for money rider. I think that, again, there are some better value for money riders a bit further down. And you also have to expect that he will be fighting for leadership with Jai Hindley, so you're not sure who they're going to be going with. Higuita makes the most sense, however, Hindley is also there. Speaking of Hindley, I'm not sure if he's a great choice either. Kind of lacks the sprint really required to be winning any of these stages. So I'm going to probably say that Hindley's not a great choice for you to be going with, because there just aren't that really long climbs for him to be benefiting from. Danny Martinez could be a good shout, however I'm not sure what his form is like at the Colombian National Champs road race. He didn't win that, and he also didn't win the time trial, which is usually just a guarantee win for him. So that signals to me that something's not quite right with Martinez at the moment, which is why I'm probably going to be quite apprehensive about picking him. However, he is a rider who has the kick required in a sprint. He also has a good time trial and a very strong team around him, so in theory he could do quite well. It's just a question as to what his form's like at the moment. I don't think it's that great. I think arguably a Rensman would be a really good choice for the INEOS Grenadiers to be going with as their leader, considering that he has a very strong time trial and he's a very good climber, so therefore he suits the bill as somebody who should be finishing inside the top 5 in this race, and he shows some flashes of decent form in the recent Volta Comunitat Valenciana. So we'll see how Rensman does. I think that he will do quite well in this race. Rui Costa is the man on form in the moment. Of course, he won the Volta Comunitat Valenciana and the Clásica Almeria, so he really is in flying form at the moment. And although he doesn't have a great time trial, he should still finish inside the top 10 in GC. Pidcock's an interesting one because he is a good option for GC here. However, we're not quite sure where he is in his goals at the moment. Is he planning to peak his form for the major Cobble Classics and also for the Ardennes, in which case it's probably a bit early for him to be in good form. However, if he is in good form, he should be fighting for top 5 in this race, because he has all the characteristics as somebody who should be doing well here. It's just a matter of, is this a major target for him, or are they going to be going for somebody like a Rensman, or perhaps his teammate Filippo Ganna as well, who is absolutely tearing up the cycling scene at the moment. Of course, he did really well in the Vuelta San Juan, but he also has been doing really well on the track recently. And I think, honestly, Ganna, kind of similar to Stefan Kung last year, might not lose too much time on the climbs, and therefore could gain a lot of time back in the time trial. And Ganna could actually finish top 10 in GC in this race, in my opinion. I think that he is in that good form at the moment, that is certainly a possibility. Fabio Jakobsen is the fastest sprinter in this race. There are 2 sprint stages, so picking up Jakobsen could certainly net you somewhere near 400 points by the end of the race, which I think is a very good return. So I think Jakobsen's a really good choice for a lot of teams. There are so many good 10-pointers that it's actually crazy, so we're going to try and get through them a little bit faster. Barguil's a good GC option, will probably finish top 15 in GC. Similar with Anton Charmig as well. He was looking good at Volta Comunitat Valenciana, but then he kind of dropped out of GC in the last stage. Magnus Cort Nielsen could go for GC here, possibly. It depends how his climbing legs are. I'm not sure if they'll be going for somebody else. He's got a good time trial as well. Probably not the fastest sprint to be getting involved with the sprint stages, but I think that he's going to be a very versatile rider in this race. Figueiredo could do something. He does good in the Volta Portugal, but this is a different kettle of fish to the Volta Portugal, no offence. So we'll see how he can step up. I think he has done really well in this race in the past, but he will lose so much time in the time trial. Tobias Foss is the, of course, world's time trial champion, and I think he will be doing really well in this race. Probably one of the best value for money riders in this race at 10, because outside of his tumble with Higuita last year, he did really well in the Volta Algarve, and I think that at 10 he could easily be finishing top 5 in this race. So Tobias Foss is almost an absolute certainty to go into your team. Tobias Hardland Johannesson got a great punch, a great sprint at the end of climb, so he'll be doing really well there. It's just a matter of can he limit his losses in the time trial. I think that he's another contender for the top 10. Christoph, the sprinter, at 10. There's also Jordi Meus, who's a sprinter, at 10 points as well. So they will probably be making up the other 2 podium positions in the sprint stages behind Jakobsen, in my opinion. So both of those are going to be pretty good choices. Kung could go for GC and will also do well in the time trial. Might net you somewhere in the realms of 200 to 300 points, in all honesty. Louvel, a little bit overpriced perhaps at 10. Mollema's quite good. He's a very strong time trialist now. He seems to have changed his track a little bit and become a bit more of a time trial based rider. It's just a matter of is he also going to back that up with strong climbing performances as well. I think in reality he should be able to do that. So I think that Mollema's going to be another good choice for an outside GC option. And then outside of them, I also like Ilan van Wilder. Quick-Step say in their press release that Van Wilder is going to be their GC option. Of course, he will be very isolated, but he also has a strong time trial, and I'm looking forward to see what Van Wilder can do without being a domestique to Remco, which is usually where we see him at the moment in his position at Soudal Quick-Step. 8-point riders, a lot of time trialists. We've got Asgreen, Bissiger and Cavagna. They'll only really be doing well on the last stage, so I probably would avoid them just because they'll only be doing well in one stage. Nicola Conchi will be the GC option for Alpecin de Koenig. Remember, he did good at the Tour of Slovenia last year behind Pogačar and Majka. Then there's Kobe Kosens, the man who arguably alongside Rui Costa is in such scintillating form at the moment, is Kobe Kosens, that I think he could certainly finish top 10, maybe top 15 in GC, considering that his time trialing isn't good. So Kobe Kosens is a really great pick considering just how well he's been doing recently. Guy Leimlaser would be another GC option for Jumbo-Visma. However, he might just be a domestique for Tobias Foss, so bear that in mind. Paul Penoe has gone up from his value at the Tour Down Under. He is the sprinter for Groupama FDJ here. A good option. However, there are some sprinters in the 6-point category who will probably do just as well. So I would perhaps avoid Penoe if you need to save some credits. You could certainly go a little bit lower. Jake Stewart will be leading him out. Tesfazion is in a tricky scenario where the climbs are too hard for him probably, but the sprints are too easy, so I'm not sure if the terrain massively suits Tesfazion here. Mike Turnison will probably be the sprinter for Intermarché, but they do also have Madis Michels, who is a 6-point rider, so you could pick either one of those guys. The 6-point riders, there are some good ones. Of course, you've got the under-23 champion from Flanders. You have Balanchini. Odd Christian Eiking, another sort of GC option for EF, but he'll lose time in the time trial. There's Gernelek, who finished, I think, 8th in GC in this race last year. His form isn't as good as last year right now, just because he didn't do as good in the Etoile de Bessèges, but he could certainly do a decent job in GC here. There's also Mahawi Kudus, who could have a stab at GC as well for EF. Madis Michels, as I just said, sprinter for Intermarché. They might be going for Turnison though, so watch out for that. Oscar Onley, the man who is famous for going head-to-head with Jonas Vingegaard at the Crow Race last year. He's here and a 6-point rider, so really good value for Oscar Onley. Of course, we don't know what his time trial is like. I presume that he will lose time during that time trial. So certainly a top 15 or maybe a top 20 in GC for Oscar Onley could be on the cards. Then there's Mick van Dijk, probably the best sprint option for Jumbo-Visma. Would probably prefer some harder sprint stages. He's a bit more of a classics man, but should be the sprint option for Jumbo-Visma. And then my favourite 6-point rider possibly could be Casper van Uden, the sprinter for DSM. 2 sprint stages for Casper van Uden could certainly see him finishing top 5 in 2 stages. Kevin Vermarker will be another GC option for Team DSM alongside Oscar Onley. And there are some other ones in there, so you'll just have to put them in the comments down below. But there are just so many great ones. Pavel Bittner, the versatile sprinter for DSM, he could be a good one to be watching out for. There's also Niels Akoff. He'll probably be part of the lead-out train more than likely. Chad Hager could be a TT option for the last stage. And then there's also Yuri Leitao, who is the sprinter for Caio Rural. Probably quite unknown for a lot of people, so definitely a good sprinter to be having. If you need to have a 4-pointer, that is. I think that it's very possible that you don't need to have that many 4-pointers in your team, considering the lack of higher-priced riders. And then there's also Milan Vader and Tim van Dijk, the Jumbo-Visma riders. Milan Vader, a decent climber, and I think that he shows some good flashes of form during the Tour Down Under. We'll just have to see how his time trialling is to see if he could be a GC choice as well. Tim van Dijk is a strong time trialist, but I don't really expect him to finish top 10 inside that final TT. So I'd probably go with somebody like Yuri Leitao would be the safest 4-point option for you to go with. And that's it. I think that is most riders. This is a very exciting one because I think so many versions of teams could do so well in this race. It's going to be really wide open, and I can't wait to see who you guys are going to be putting in the comments down below, what you're putting into your teams. I know what there's left to say. Just keep safe out there, and I'll see you in the next video. Salut!